I am the world's first fully functioning homicidal artist.
Well, it's not like you can just kill me.
Actually, it's a lot like that.
Meow.
Well, it could be worse. I could have blood gushing from my nose.
Hey everyone, I'm Jack, and I'm reviewing Batman and Batman Returns. I'm sorry I haven't been uploading videos very recently. I've been kind of lacking motivation. I've been very lazy, so I apologize. But yeah, anyway, this is Batman and Batman Returns. I'll start with Batman. So directed by Tim Burton, and Tim Burton, as a person, I think he's one of my favorite directors. This is Batman. And up to the point of this movie, people had pretty much just seen Adam West's Batman. The majority of people, at least. Because there were, of course, the people who had read stuff like The Killing Joke and knew that Batman could be very dark and very, very interesting. But most people had just seen the pure camp that was Batman, the TV series with Adam West. And the movie with Adam West. Oh gosh. But then they saw Michael Keaton as Bruce Wayne and Batman, and they saw Tim Burton's unique vision, and people were introduced to a much darker, more mature Batman that no one had even dreamed existed, it seemed like. This movie was so unique for its time, and unfortunately, with the new Nolan Batmans, it is very dated, but I think it still holds up today. It's got an incredible visual tone. Tim Burton outdid himself. He did a very good job. The actors, Michael Keaton I think is the best one in this movie. Harvey Dent and Commissioner Gordon are kind of underplayed. And then they have the Joker. Of course, at that time, the standard in a superhero movie would be to introduce the major villain and add on the lesser villains as the series went on. Jack Nicholson plays the Joker, and you know what? He does a damn fine job. My only complaint with his performance is that half the time, it seems more like Jack Nicholson than the Joker. I think half the time, he actually seems more like the Joker. Yeah, I can buy him as the Joker. But the other half of the time, I'm seeing Jack Nicholson in cool makeup, acting crazy. He does do a good job. The movie is more about the Joker and about Batman trying to stop him. It doesn't focus on Batman or Bruce Wayne as much. This movie goes into his backstory a little bit, but not a whole lot, you know? This movie pretty much just shows his parents being killed by Jack Napier, the Joker, although he wasn't the Joker at the time. And then we pretty much assume he became Batman after that, to avenge his parents' death and stuff like that. Most of the faults of this movie are just that more has come since it. You know, we've seen Batman the animated series, and we've seen the Nolan Batman movies, and so we've been very spoiled, so we look back at this and we say, wow, how dated. I think it still holds up well. I think that this is a film that any Batman fan should see, because it was the first Batman film that introduced people to a darker and mature Batman. I thought that the Joker had some great lines, but I thought that Batman did too. In fact, the best line in the movie is simply, I'm Batman. I thought that the Joker had some great lines, but I thought that Batman did too. In fact, the best line in the movie is simply, I'm Batman. Okay, that was terrible. But yeah, I mean, just Michael Keaton saying, I'm Batman, you know, it solidified, wow, this guy kills it. Michael Keaton remains one of the best Batman interpretations. Michael Keaton, he's been overlooked. He really did a fine job. It's probably his best performance besides Beetlejuice. Danny Elfman's score is probably my favorite thing about this movie. It's one of the best scores ever written. Overall, I think that the biggest problem with Batman is probably the way it was written. There is some unnecessary humor, especially in the form of Knox. He didn't get on my nerves too much, but he did kind of get on my nerves. I would say that this is a pretty good movie, especially in preparation for The Dark Knight Rises. I'll give Batman a 9.25 out of 10. Moving on to Batman Returns, the studio removed pretty much its restrictions on Tim Burton going nuts and said, here Tim Burton, you did a good job, let's see what you can really do. And Tim Burton turned it into the dark fantasy version of Batman. This is a tough movie for me to judge, because if you ignore the fact that it's Batman, it's actually an improvement over Batman. And then when you think about it, wait, this is supposed to be Batman, and then it's not so good, and it's not as good as the original. It's really hard for me to think about. The Penguin isn't anything like the Penguin in the comics. Same goes for Catwoman. Batman's the only one who remains constant. I mean, Commissioner Gordon's in there for like a brief second. Max Shreck was a good character. I'm not sure if he was ever in the comics. I don't think he was. There's a reference at the ball scene to the Phantom of the Opera. There's the Mask of the Red Death, or whatever he's called, standing on the staircase, just like in the Phantom of the Opera, in the color scene no less. And there's also the fact that the villain is named Max Shreck. Max Shreck was the guy who played Nosferatu, Count Warlock in Nosferatu. I think that this movie is one of the best dark fairy tales ever told. Penguin was interesting. He really was an interesting character. I thought that Michelle Pfeiffer was the best part of Batman Returns. She really did a good job as Selina Kyle. She was great as Catwoman. She was great at playing two different parts, She played Selina Kyle, timid, little secretary, assistant, whatever, and then she turns into Catwoman. Of course, she kind of overacted, but it worked for the movie, and that's what counts. Danny DeVito was probably the best choice possible for the Penguin. It was great casting. Michael Keaton returns, which is nice because you don't see him in the next one, and he again does a very, very superb job. Christopher Walken, I believe, plays Max Shreck, and you know what? He's really good. He seems like such a slimy person. He never acted evil. Well, he sometimes acted evil, but he seldom acted evil. It just kind of made him a little bit more sinister. I liked how he ended up dying. Yeah, there's something weird about these movies. First two Burton Batman movies, someone gets electrocuted by a villain. I really like this movie, but it's not Batman at all. I mean, Batman is Batman. He's still Batman, but the characters otherwise are not Batman at all. And Tim Burton has said that he doesn't really like comic books too much. He said that Batman the Killing Joke really got to him, but he said he's not that into comic books in general. So I guess you can't really blame him for not wanting to follow Batman strictly. But all the same, I'm going to give this movie the exact same score as Batman, 9.25, because on one hand, it is better if you look at it as a dark fantasy version of Batman, but it isn't Batman, so you kind of have to demote it for that. Anyway, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin will be coming up. I'll also be reviewing Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, of course. So thank you for watching and have a good day.